So we are on another Transformer Tuesday, and this is one that Hasbro teased to us a couple weeks ago, so we knew this was coming. This was going to be the big pre-order drop, and we didn't realize just how much value we were going to be getting from this. So let's jump into it like we always do here on the Transformer Slag podcast and talk about the ever so awesome, amazing Transformers Generation Selects Autobots Stand United 5-pack. Man, there's a lot more than I thought we were going to get, and I'm very happy with that. So we're going to go over what's different about all of them, why this is going to be a very, important purchase for a lot of people, and even the value of it, the longevity of it, the paint schemes, the extras that we got here that I didn't expect. So we're going to jump into the ones we've already kind of covered in the past due to leaks and stuff, and we'll start obviously with our Deluxe Trailbreaker. We got those images a while back. We've seen the side-by-sides, the comparisons. You could go back and check my segments on that if you really want to go into the nitty-gritty of each detail in deco. But I just want to kind of just mention here, again, that original Trailbreaker from Earthrise in 2020, right in the middle of the big V when that was all happening, that thing goes for, like $70 to $100 in the secondary market. Obviously, that's going to be softened now because of this, but you now have a cheaper opportunity. It's way more screen accurate to the PREORDER design. Looks amazing. And you know what's funny? The photos that Hasbro took, I guess maybe it was the lighting, but it doesn't show just how screen accurate the black into a gray really is, because we had the in-hand models from the leaks and we saw that it's really gray, and the grayness matches more so how it looked in the show. So this one is going to be a step up above the rest. And again, not using translucent plastic, so it also makes it stronger in its joints. A lot of great stuff going on there. Same thing with the Wheeljack, but the Wheeljack even has that extra edge to it. So we talked about it in the past when we had the leaks of the Wheeljack, but we didn't know that on top of all of this too, it actually also is going to come with an extra gun. So this extra gun, and it's going to also fall into another character we're going to talk about here. It's a pair of guns that we got that come from the Elita 1 Legacy toy, and these guns clearly have been molded on the side separate from the Elita because it showed up in a lot of different releases over the past couple of months. And we have it here now with Wheeljack. So Wheeljack gets an extra gun on top of that one little accessory that he has normally with that Earthrise one. And I mean, that gun, maybe it's supposed to represent that big cannon that he had in the show or something. I don't know what it's there for, but it's still pretty cool that he has a gun that's not just a little thing. Maybe it could be considered a welder or something. It's still pretty cool. So that's awesome. So because when you read the listing for this, it actually says that there's 8 blaster accessories across the 5 figures. So there's a lot more here. And that's pretty cool. Again, if you want the specifics of animation model differences and all the cues and everything, go check out my individual segment about this guy when he leaked out. But he is a step up above from the Earthrise one. Value, you know what? He was in Kingdom. He was re-released a few times, so the original wasn't too difficult. But now we're talking something that's leaning more into that masterpiece level of coloring and screen accuracy. And I always love that. Jazz is Jazz is one that's making me feel uncomfortable, because it's like, Studio Series 86, where the original Jazz came from, that's supposed to be like our definitive versions of the characters, and how can you do better? And yet somehow they managed to squeeze like blood from a rock and still make it better than what that Studio Series 86 one was. Now, granted, that Studio Series 86 one, that was a launch figure for Studio Series 86. There was plenty of them out there. It goes maybe for slightly more than MSRP, so it's not like it's a crazy expensive figure if you're trying to track down the original. But they pretty much blew it out of the water, in my opinion. Not just out of like the common things that we expect, the more opaque windows as opposed to the clear ones and stuff, and all the translucent plastic now being solid, so less of a fear of breakage. But they did the little details that the animation model had that were lacking on the Studio Series, and I was surprised. Completing the collar on the robot mode with the chest with the blue, I wasn't expecting that. The fact that they didn't paint the front grille of his vehicle mode, which actually isn't painted in the animation model, so it's more accurate by having the lack of paint. The little gray nubs on his kneecaps are painted in, again, lacking on the Studio Series. The fact that there was paint on the side of his rear hubs of his vehicle mode, which also are on the legs of his robot mode, that's painted in. They even painted in his spoiler in his robot mode that had that little black paint on the side of his spoiler, which again, the Studio Series didn't have. Very surprised. Again, Autobot logo now more, not lined out, so it looks more like the animation model. I am surprised how much they were able to make it still very different from the Studio Series and then make it even better than what we got before. Man, that makes me now look at other past Studio Series and go, maybe we could fix some stuff. Maybe there's things that could be changed now. Maybe we could tackle some of the other ones that we thought were perfect, but maybe they weren't. Then we got Sunstreaker. Sunstreaker was another one of those like, hey, if you wanted to get him up until this point, $80 to $100 in the secondary market. Crazy expensive. Again, he came right in the heart of the Big V in Earthrise 2020. And they were like, don't worry, we're going to make it even more screen accurate. We're going to include an extra gun with him. If you're not happy with his big engine vent gun, we're going to include one of those, again, the pair of the Elita guns, the other one. And that one will kind of match what was seen in some comic books and some quick scenes in the animation. So looking really good. The correct tinge of yellow, that's more of that orangey yellow that his cell animation model had. As I predicted when I was thinking, like, how could you improve the Sunstreaker? They painted in the shoulders. They gave the little black there. They painted in his knees. They cleaned up the front of his shins. So all of that was now done to make it more screen accurate. There's one little flaw with it, though. When you look at the vehicle mode, while the vehicle mode is pretty painted accurately, you don't have the spoiler, but they added extra paint in the back of black to kind of mimic the essence of the spoiler. The Autobot logo is done right on the hood. Unfortunately, they had to put an Autobot logo on the roof of the car, too, which the animation model didn't have, but that's because of the transformation and because they wanted to have an Autobot logo on the chest of the robot mode. So that's one of the little nitpick. But at the end of the day, hey, you get an extra gun for him. So that's pretty cool. It's that Elita 1 gun, the other one on top of that vent engine one. So he has 2 guns. Pretty cool. Easily a step up from what we got before. And now you don't have to pay the $80 to $100 just to get him. And the last one we got here is good old Hound. We were staring at that one Target image forever from Buzzworthy when it was leaked out last year, like literally 12 months ago. And now we finally get to see this in the flesh, and they did everything they needed to do to make this amazing. Every little deco detail, more or less, is there. The yellow on the forearms, the star on the chest, the Autobot logo, the painted engine, even the little details on his crotch area, his toes. It's all there. The only thing that I could really nitpick is, it sucks he doesn't have his turret weapon, but we kind of knew that before from Detritus and seeing the weapons that he comes with and rolls out with. It also kind of sucks that, he doesn't have his side mirrors. It doesn't have the little arrow, I guess we could call it the little arrow kind of deco that was on the side of his vehicle, and of course the Autobot logo on the hood, which could have been put there. I don't think that would have affected the robot mode in any way. But I guess maybe the budget was in its limit, and who knows, maybe they might just release a Studio Series 86 one later that somehow is better. Stay tuned for that. But either way, looks great. I mean, the Hound is fantastic, long overdue. And man, what a set. What a set. And here's where we get to the even crazier part. So the price for this set is going to be only $109.99, so $110, which puts it to about $22 a figure, cheaper than our standard MSRP for deluxes at $24.99 or $25. So you actually save $3 a figure here. The figures are better than what we've gotten before. They're way cheaper than the secondary market asking value for those lesser figures. And it comes in a nice box. Everything's amazing. Extra blasters in total. So you get 8 blasters instead of 5 that we normally, actually no, 6 because one of them had 2. But it's something where you get extra weapons. What a great pack. What a great pack. I suggest you pick this up. This is something that if you don't get it, you're probably going to regret it later. So again, Hasbro Pulse, $109.99. Ships out July 15, 2024. So it's actually not going to be too long before you get these. What a great 5-pack. Let me know what you think. I'm super impressed by it. I'm picking it up. This is great. And those guys who have been sitting on the other ones scalping them all this time, well, they're going to have to rush to get these out before people realize that there's cheaper, better options out there. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk again very soon here on the Transformer Slag podcast. And thank you for listening.